Good evening to you. I'd like to give you an overview as far as work that's going to be due for the month of March. And first of all, if you have not submitted your summary assignment, I need to get those completed this week because I have so much to do. March is an incredibly busy month for me. I'm working on some projects here at the college. And then I also have 5 technical communication classes. I have 1 police report writing and 1 human services writing. And so it's just you just have to make sure that you stay on top of it. So that's why I'd like to get all of this work done. Now, the only work that's going to be due for this Friday, March 1st, is you just have to do a proposal on written instructions. And those will actually not be due until the 15th. Now, I'm going to give you some tips or suggestions because students have asked me as far as what do you do them on. Number one, try to pick something at a medium level of difficulty or higher. So that would not be making Kraft macaroni and cheese or scrambled eggs. It would be something like making 7-layer lasagna, making pierogi, which is actually hard to do if you know how to make good pierogi. Somebody in class is making homemade noodles, which I really think is a great idea. And so that's worth doing. If you want to make a good mixed drink, that's fine. But some of the ones that I had in class for the summertime is I had a student that detailed his vehicle. He did really, really good visuals as far as that goes. How to hook up and how to unhook a travel trailer, which I thought was, an effective one. Somebody recently did one on how to plan a wedding, and that was, work related. And so that was really good. It's really, really involved to do something of that nature. But, like I said, it can be work related, or it can be with an organization that you deal with. Like if you're a volunteer firefighter, how to don that oxygen breathing equipment. I had a student that was a diver for a volunteer fire department, and how to, get the equipment on, how to make sure that your oxygen breathing equipment is right, your gauges, your tanks, because obviously if you're in the Mon River and you're looking for a dead body or or like a gun, you have to make sure that your equipment is working properly because you could die as a result. I had a student in class a couple years ago who did his on donning, safety equipment for a nuclear power plant. He worked for Westinghouse Nuclear, and he basically even did in class. He showed us how to put on this white suit and then how to tape around the arms and around the legs, just so that none of this nuclear particulate matter would get in. I had a student that did hers on how to do a venipuncture, which is drawing blood as a phlebotomist. Now, if you have an older person or if you have a really muscular individual or someone whose veins you can't find, that's a good example. You could do it on cooking or baking or a hobby that you have. Lots of people did them on knitting. Some people like to wrap gifts. I've had people that did them on ultimate frisbee, playing quarterback or being an offensive lineman, something you're good at. Like I said, just choose something that you've done a number of times and you're effective at. I had a student named Ron Miller in class, and he loved the bicycle. And he showed us how to take off the rear wheel of your bicycle and how to change a flat on the trail. I'll tell you what, if you're on the Great Allegheny Passage and you're 20 miles from the nearest bike shop, you have to figure out how to change that tire. There's no way around that. And I thought that that was a very effective one. I had a guy in class who was a Harley-Davidson motorcycle mechanic, how to tune up a Harley Sportster. Good example, one, to keep your bike running in top shape. So those are some types of options. I'm open to just about anything, but typically they have at least 5 visuals. The best ones that I've seen have visuals that the students actually take with their own camera. Using clip art is not the best way to go. It just doesn't do much. If you can take your own images, that's better. Or if you want to get images from some website, that's okay. I have no problem with that. But make sure you have good, high quality images. Most of them are 5 pages long. Some are longer. Typically, they're not much shorter than that. They're typically between 12 to 15 steps long, but that can vary. I had a student that did a demolition derby car, and his was much longer than that. So anyhow, I just wanted to, mention that there's a wide range of possibilities. Somebody did, and this is a little bit gross, but somebody did as far as, gutting and skinning and butchering a deer. It was a female student. She loved to hunt with her father, so that was a good one. I've had people that go with turkey hunting as far as how to hunt turkey successfully, how to have a good turkey hunt. So how to shoot, how to shoot effectively. I had a person that was a police officer as far as how to frisk someone, how to do a correct traffic stop. So there you have it. And hopefully that information is of use to you. Now, the other point that I wanted to mention for Friday, March 8th, you have to do a summary of sources for your consumer report. You actually only need to find 6 sources at this time, and you'll write it in a memo format. There's some examples and assignments, but basically you need to tell me what the source said about the product you're looking at. So, for example, if you went to Hillview Motors and you were looking at a Dodge Ram truck, what did the salesperson tell you? What sort of information did they say? Or if you're looking, at another place, if you went to Toyota of Greensburg, or at the Toyota.com website, or, wherever you are, try to be as specific as you can related to your sources. So there is that. The other one you have to do is discussion board 5. It's on a harmful product that is made to seem more appealing. So there's a vodka, it's called Purple Vodka. It's with Little Kim, the rapper, and she is really wearing the tightest, sexiest outfit you can imagine, and she's drinking vodka, and it looks purplish, and it looks like it's selling sex appeal. And honestly, if you drink that vodka, you won't have sex appeal. You can have a DUI. You could get involved in unprotected sex. You could get into a fight. If you're not careful, you could get robbed. So there's a lot of negative implications, but what you're trying to do is trying to show what they do to make the product more appealing to the consumer. So there are examples there, and if you can, include the actual image of the product. If you could get that in, that would be good. The written instructions will be due for Friday the 15th. I would encourage you to send those as a Word document, definitely not rich text format, because rich text format takes up too much space, or better yet, even a PDF, which is you can save it in that particular format. As we go into March further, you'll have one letter due on the 22nd and one due on the 29th, and you can look at those as we get closer to that. They're not hard to do, but I just wanted to mention that. And then as we get into the beginning of April, you're going to have to go to a website called www.collegecentral.com/WCCC, and then you're going to have to create a login and a password, and then at the site create a resume, and I'm going to have you upload at least 3 documents to an electronic portfolio, and then you're going to forward both of those to me so that I can see that you know how to use that site. But it's really good because if you apply for a job, you can forward your portfolio and resume right to the employer. You don't have to mail it, and that's an advantage. Last thing that I wanted to mention to you is through the College Central website, College Central, www.collegecentral.com/WCCC. If you want to try it sooner, you can actually click on that, and then you could click on Student, and then you'd have to register for the first time. And then what you'd have to do is they'll ask you for your student ID, which is on the front of your ID card, but you'd have to create your own password. So just use the one that you use most often for everything else. And then you could go in, and then they want you to update your, or fill in information about yourself so that you can start getting some job postings. But anyhow, we're going to do the resume and the portfolio section. But the other part about that I wanted to mention to you is they College Central through WCCC Career Services is linked into Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. If you can only get into one of those, or if you only want to use one of those, LinkedIn is obviously my favorite. I am on there, but it's really good. It's a professional social media networking site. And so if you want to get connected to me on LinkedIn, that would be good, because if you ever wanted to get a recommendation, I could write one in 5 minutes on there, and it's visible to others and it's visible to employers, and that's a good way to do it. One former employee here at WCCC, she moved to Florida. So I wrote a recommendation for her. So did Doug Jensen, who's the Dean of Technologies and Culinary Arts, and so did Sherry Knoll, who's in Career Services. So, three of us wrote recommendations, but that's a good way to go. But anyhow, I'm at about 11 and a half minutes, and it's getting closer to 11 o'clock at night, so I'd like to get out of here. So I just wanted to go through this for now. Okay, thank you.